In this video I am going to show you a small little tool that I put together to help you decide which country to travel to on your next vacation to find a good girlfriend or a possible wife without too much work and not too much hassle. But first, let me make a disclaimer. This is not a statistically significant study. This is only one man's opinion about people and countries and people that he has run across. Meaning, I have lived for about 40 years traveling to different countries around the world, and this is just my own opinion. This is not an official study by any means. But I would invite anybody who's interested to take a look at the countries that I have lived in or traveled to and see if you agree with my assessment on how easy or how difficult it is to meet people of the opposite gender in the specific country. Before we get into the actual dating difficulty chart and how it can help you find a good location to travel to on your next vacation, I want to describe the individual components that went into creating that chart. The first one is a subjective index of each of the countries that I've visited. There's about 12 of them here on the list, and maybe 5 or so that I have not yet been to. But on top of the list I've got United States. I would consider that one of the most difficult places in the world to date single females, at least for an older guy. Singapore and Australia are a close second, and I grew up in Norway, so that's also on the list, and that's a little bit easy but still pretty hard. Hong Kong is much easier but still kind of in the medium range of difficulty, rated about a 6. Japan I have not yet been, but I hear that's pretty difficult as well, but unknown as yet. I have not been there. United Kingdom is still pretty hard. It's probably a medium difficulty of around 6. South Korea I have not been. Taiwan is a bit mixed. It seems like people are very friendly, and I would consider that a possible place for dating, but not as easy as some other countries. China is probably a tad easier than Taiwan or Hong Kong. And Thailand, of course, is well known worldwide for being an easy place to start up some romance. And Vietnam, strangely enough, is, in my opinion, a bit difficult. I would rate it similar to maybe Taiwan or Hong Kong perhaps. It seems like the ladies are very independent and they don't necessarily want to look for a man because he has financial stability coming from another country, etc. And the favorite of all is the Philippines. People there are very friendly towards foreigners, especially Americans. As you already know, American is the country with the highest income in the world, and it's the #1 economy. So a woman is not programmed for finding a sexy, handsome guy. Women in any country, they are programmed to finding the best breadwinner or the best security for raising a family. And a guy coming from a country that has stable income and a job with a income, he's going to be very high on the list. Even if he's an older guy, losing hair, has put on a few pounds of extra weight, he's going to still be a very desirable mate or husband for raising a family. Indonesia, Cambodia, and Laos I still have not been, but I hear they are very high on the list in terms of possible dating life. But again, no information from me yet on those areas. But as we'll get to in a moment, we'll see that the dating difficulty chart actually predicts that those three countries will be very, very good for possibly looking for a mate or romance. It sometimes surprises me when I meet single guys that don't seem to understand that ladies think different than guys when it comes to finding the perfect mating partner. It's not a coincidence that girls are programmed to look for strong mates, not in terms of physics, but in terms of support and security, because they are going to bear children, and it's very hard to raise a family and raise small children and take care of the offspring while at the same time producing income. So men that are perhaps not, perfect models in terms of looks, but have a good stable income. They might be a little older, perhaps not chasing around after girls all the time. They're a little more mature and settled down. They are going to be much more desirable. And it surprises me that so many single guys don't seem to get that. They seem to think, yeah, you got to have a six-pack, abs, be very handsome and look like Brad Pitt. That will be sure to give you a lot of options when it comes to dating, but that's not always the case. Ladies in the Philippines are pretty smart in terms of what constitutes a good mate. In fact, while traveling in the Philippines, I have frequently heard from girls there that don't want to date a handsome young dude because he's just going to play around and chase other girls. And an older guy who's more mature, perhaps a little overweight, losing hair or whatever, he's going to be a better choice and a more long-term solution. And it just really surprises me that guys cannot get the point that attraction is not a choice. It's programmed in our genes. Ladies want to find a stable, supportive guy who can help raise the offspring. And this is good for guys like me. I'm an older gentleman who got divorced a number of years ago, and I thought that was the end of my dating life. But I was wrong, happily so. I found out that ladies do appreciate a mature guy who's stable and can pay the bills. So I kind of got a second wind and started my journey into dating life again. Since income is so important for single females, I decided to do some data science and see if there's a correlation between country salaries and how easy it might be to meet a single girl in one of these countries on the list on the left side of the screen. And what I did is I pulled up the average income for each of the countries that I'm interested in, and you can see United States is number one. It's the highest income earning country in the world, at least on the list that I'm showing right now. I think Switzerland is even just above the United States, but anyway, on the list of the countries that I'm interested in, United States is number one. So when you come as an American to a foreign country like the Philippines or Thailand or any other country in the world, they look at you like a rich person. Of course, they don't know that it costs a lot of money to rent a home or an apartment in the United States, so people still have to struggle to get by in the United States as well. So what I did is basically plot the income versus the dating difficulty index on a scatter plot, and you will see a very interesting pattern emerge. You got the average monthly income on the x-axis on the bottom of the screen here, and you got the difficulty dating index on the left, and you'll see a pretty straight line here of all the countries. And I actually did a regression analysis on the points on this chart, and you can see it fits pretty closely to a straight line, which tells me there's some correlation between income or perceived income of the country you're coming from and how easy it is to find a mate in a foreign country. And you'll see United States is on one side of the chart here, very difficult to find a good mate, at least for older guys. And Philippines is on the other side, and Thailand and a couple other countries on the other side of the line here, which are much more easy to find a mate. You can see there's a midpoint here of about $1,800 a month. So I could say perhaps these countries on the left here are the countries that you should consider traveling to if you want to go to find a good mate. And these countries on the right here, everything from United Kingdom to United States, are probably on the do not visit list if you're looking for a good mate as an older guy. It's very interesting. So there you have it, guys. And to wrap things up, I'd love to hear from you in your own comments below this video. What countries do you consider easy to find a mate, and which countries would you probably avoid because it's too difficult? Please comment below.